Hello everybody, this is White Wolf once again, and I wanted to talk about reliving our childhood, regaining our innocence, and allowing ourselves to use our imagination to manifest in a greater way, and to realize that what we're escaping is just the distortion of our past lifetimes and also our dysfunctional family lives and anything that we go through. If any of you were like bullied or made to feel disempowered, to made feel unworthy, to made feel that you are so small and that you're nothing, I'm here to tell you that is a lie. That is something that we're sold, and that in this world and societal norms and the way that the world is, we're told and taught that we're not smart, that we're not energetically sound, that we're not migrating back into unity. But what we really are is a DNA codex. We are DNA codes. We are the cosmic codes that release all of these star seeds, energy and magic and transcendence that flows through us when we allow ourselves to really just be in our innocence, to be within that precise aligned vision. And we allow ourselves to be provision, and we allow ourselves to be proactive instead of revision, and we allow ourselves to be provision, and we allow ourselves to be proactive instead of reactive, and that we allow ourselves to really play, we allow ourselves to live, laugh, and love. And when we allow ourselves to do that, we allow ourselves to play with our imagination, to play with life, and to not take life so seriously, and to just look around us like, what do we have to be grateful for? How can we have more gratitude within our lives? How can we be more in sync with our gratitude, our happiness, our fulfillment within ourselves, to allow ourselves to see that we're not living for other people's lives. We're not living for society. We're living for ourselves. And the only thing at the end of the day, you can try to please so many people all the time. You can try to please your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your friends. But please you first so that you're able to please others. But we're not here to really please others. We're here to be of service to others, to see that we can align ourselves to that vibration of that sensitivity and that vulnerability, to be in that innocence and to relive our childhood once again, and to allow the inner child to use it as a game. So we have to play life like it's a video game. We have to understand that we are the simulation of the video game, and that we are the simulation of this matrix that we're generating, this illusion that we're generating within this reality. So if we have the ability to change this matrix into what it is and reshape it and allow it to be profound and so intertwined and interchanging and forever changing, and allow it to change for itself, to see that every time that we choose to align or change or empower or transform and heal, we allow ourselves to regain our innocence. We're allowing ourselves to receive something back that was taken from us. Rather, it's a past lifetime. Maybe you were bullied. Maybe a lot of you were sexually abused. Maybe you had alcoholic fathers, or anybody who has gone through so many things. We go through an underground tunnel to find that light at the end of that tunnel. And then we chase that light. We're seeing that light within ourselves, and we allow ourselves to see that we are not just a child of God, but we are the I Am itself, and we are whatever we confirm what we are. We are what we say that we are. We are what we proclaim that we are, and what we declare that we are. We allow ourselves to see what we really are when we allow ourselves to relive our childhood, and to see that it's not about having more, because the more will come, the expansion will come, the grace will come, the anointing will come to you. It's just seeing that you already have had everything that you've ever wanted to happen already. We always feel like we're waiting on something to happen, in a sense. In our lives, we're always feeling like, I want this to happen. I'm afraid that this is going to happen. Everything is happening simultaneously, all the time, all at once, everywhere, omnipresent, all the time. So if everything has already happened, you can become the happening before it happens, before the experience is realized, before everything is intellectualized and everything is actualized, before you even act on something. There's a pivotal moment to where You can tap into the multiplicity of the parallel aspect of the universe. So in that moment, you have that ability to see that you have options, that there are choices, that there are circumstances, that there are ways to project, there are ways to channel, in a sense. So when you allow yourself to see that maybe if you just take a step back and weigh out what is there and what is present, it's not always about shooting the gun, and it's not always about doing something radical and spontaneous, but sometimes it's allowing it to marinate and using that discernment and that wisdom to see, how can I use my inner child as a way of not only being masculine and feminine, but also allowing it to be in a way that it feels good and it feels right and it doesn't feel rigid or tough, and that I am not just a child of God, but I am whatever I proclaim that I am. So everybody is God in a sense. I don't believe in God. I have accepted God within my life, in my heart, in my spirit. That's a big difference when we say that it's okay for people to believe and be a Christian. There's nothing wrong with that. But for people who want to understand the spiritual perspective that I have, is really saying that I accept that I am the manifestation of all things. I accept that I am the happening before the happening happens. I am the spontaneous recognition and the cognizance and the awareness of every type of sound, of word, of choices, of lifetimes, of life forms that are on this planet. So how can I tap into that purity of nothingness and that purity of innocence and that purity of seeing everything as just spatial awareness? How can you be the most aware person at every exact moment without having to try to be the most spatially aware person at every given moment? How can you do that? So just be it, just allow it, just flow with it, and it will become you, and it will have no other choice but to be that childlike wonder. And when we are children, we don't look at price tags. We don't look at people in their wealth and their status. We don't look at people as if they're objects. So when we are children, we have innocence. There is no pride. There is no arrogance. There are no limiting thoughts. There's nothing outside of the realm of imagination when we are children, like 5, 6 years old, or even 2 years old. You know, we're sucking on our thumb and just seeing a bee fly over to us, or a butterfly, or swinging on the swing and feeling that essence of that, and the wind blowing, and just the manifestation of that, and just kind of playing with everything, and just allowing everything to recalibrate itself, because we allow ourselves to really relax in a greater way when we relive our childhood every day. When we live, laugh, and love, that is the greatest mantra that you can ever have in your life, because it allows you to live. You're breathing life. It allows you to laugh. You're breathing in that joy. You're allowing that joy. You're not allowing it to be a fake joy, but to be an existential ecstasy. And you're choosing to love yourself. You're choosing to accept your distortions. You're choosing to accept yourself, to be able to control yourself, but not to be doing it in a controlling way. You're not controlling yourself in a controlling way. You're not whipping yourself on the back because you haven't made it yet. You're not treating yourself with judgment or condemnation, because children don't judge. They don't see anything. They don't see with their eyes. They see with their heart. They see with their love. They see with their soul. They see through those eyes of God. And when you are able to give off that childlike essence, that vulnerability, and to be tender-hearted to the point where it allows everything to be peaceful, to be joyous, to be at peace almost all the time, is just the act of just letting go of everything all at once, surrendering everything all at once. When you surrender, you are releasing. And when you are releasing, you are sending out a different vibration. And when you have that innocence and that purity and that guidance mechanism come over you to say that I don't need to take everything so seriously. I don't need to make my problems actual problems. That it can never have a resolution, because it can always resolve itself, because when we are afraid to act on something, we're not going by our childlike wonder. When Spirit tells you to do something and then you don't act on it, it allows a negative chain of reactions, experiences, circumstances that are not allowing you to initiate into another multiplicity activation and not allowing you to tap into a parallel aspect of your own reality. And it doesn't allow you to astral travel from different universes, and also to be able to do things in your dream in such a prolific way, in such an epic way, because it allows you to be the dreamer immersed within your own dream, and to realize that everything that is happening inside that said dream is really just consciousness knowing consciousness. It is the consciousness that is generating every other individuated creation. So when we allow ourselves to see and flip the switch that we can really relive every essence, every moment of our childhood right now, we become children, in a sense, when we awaken. A lot of us, we always feel like we have to grow up fast. We feel like we can't be children all the time. We feel like we can't have that young essence every time. But you can have that young essence about you. Some people are old souls, but it doesn't mean that they can't have a young spirit. Your soul may be very, very old, but it does not mean that you can't have that spirit of saying, like, I don't want to grow up, but I want to expand upon where I am now. I don't want to be a grumpy old grown-up. I don't want to be a boring adult, in a sense. But I want to be the child within myself once again. I want to be that child that wants to play, that wants to activate itself, that wants to play with its imagination, that wants to see beyond the lens of perception. So when we allow ourselves to see that everything that we want to happen, if we force too much energy into the happening of it, in the unfolding of it, sometimes we're stripping ourselves away from what it could be more if we allow it to see that it's not just a projection itself. It's not this, and it's not that, and it's not something that you force, and it's not something that you just internalize, but it's something that you exemplify, you express. You know that it's already happened, and that it will happen, and that it has happened so many different times in a billion different ways. That's why we talk about the 144,000 light workers that are like other aspects of ourselves and other selves within our own self. But realizing that there are a billion different realities and universes that are going on simultaneously. This is what we call simultaneity, but also it's called spontaneous recognition and spontaneous cosmic combustion. Because once you allow that to unfold and to unravel, you allow yourself to see that you are never in a position, you are never in a place, you are never in a thought process. Your thought processes are not what you think they are. And your healing and integration is not happening to you. We think that it's happening to us. We always think that we're like something, like they made that happen to me. Or they said this thing and the happening made me feel bad. Like, is that a real thing? And we have to see what is real for us and what is not real. What resonates and what does not resonate. And it's all a matter of looking at it with an objective truth, with an open mind, with an open heart, with an open perspective. So you have to choose that for yourself. You have the choice. You get to choose what you do. So alleviate the tension. Alleviate the sense of feeling like you have to make it all happen, or you have to get muddled within the details, because that's not how children operate, right? Children don't think of the details. Children don't think of like, oh, if this happens, oh, if I don't get this paid on time, oh, if I feel like if I do this thing, then I don't take a chance on it and I just play it safe, then children go for it. Even if they'll stay up all night and go to school the next day. They'll stay up all night and sneak out of the house. You know, children go for it, you know. And we don't need to feel like we are puny, but we are so big and beautiful and cryptic in our own special way, in our own unique way. Everybody is unique in their own divinity. So when we allow ourselves to be unique in our own divinity, we allow ourselves to see that we are always, in a sense, reliving every single experience. And we've already lived every single experience before the experience even happened. So we've already been through this simulation again and again. So it's not like we're going half-cocked, and it's not like we're going at it from a completely different standpoint, but it's just a little different. It has a different sentiment. It has a different vibe altogether. So if you just go with the vibe and you go with the flow and you really believe in what you're doing to the point where you absolutely know it, and there will be this purification that comes over you, this grace that comes over you, and there will be a direct line of that golden essence that comes down from you. And it's like when children are laughing very excessively, in a sense. Or like I watched something online, and this person was like doing a rap song, and they did like this funny noise. It brought me so much joy. Like I felt like a kid, and I went through this whole week of like integration, healing, and all these different things. And it felt like when I watched that thing, it just made me laugh so hard and brought me that sense of joy and that giggling and that just uncontrollable holy laughter, right? So if we could find things in our life, instead of looking at it from a negative perspective, if we can find all the reasons, all the transcendent reasons why we should live, why we should laugh, why we should love, why we should forgive, why we should let go, why we should relive our childhood and regain our innocence and take back what was taken from us, in a sense. And, yeah, it's like I have a basketball goal, and it's the person who we rent to. But I go out there and I play basketball, or I go for a run, or I do my cardio routine, and I do get to play. And it's funny because my spiritual journey, I get to do that. I get to relive my childhood once again. So if you just take times throughout your day, not without your day. I don't know what it's like for you, maybe without your day. But take time to like journal, walk in the woods, or maybe just sit down for a second, or watch TV. Or if you like watching, animated Disney movies, or your favorite cartoon, and just getting back into that state of like, how can I make my appearances of that awareness be so childlike, so abundant, so innocent, to the point where there is nothing there that is negative, but it's profound. If you can see all the profound things in your life and you're able to see it and breathe it and to feel as if you're experiencing it for the very first time, like when children experience something for the very first time, like their mother holding them or their dad lifting them up and holding them like this, they remember that and they feel into the essence of that and the beauty of that, you know? And it's hard because we come, light workers, most of the time, we come from dysfunction, you know? We come from trauma. We come from dysfunction. We have, you know, parents that were dysfunctional, or like we, you know, like I had to get a different set of parents in my life, and they had their own stuff, but it was better than what I was getting from it. So it's like, yeah, you get soul growth, you get that soul love back, and then it turns into your soul craft, and then it turns into the meditation that you give to God to allow God to be able to come into your being so that you can have acceptance that you are God. Now, you are not God Almighty, but you're your own creation of God's source energy manifested in the human being. So, there's that. So, you get to be happy again, you get to be free again, you get to think again. And it's like when we are bred to be disempowered, or we're bullied, or we're backed into a corner, or people just have always picked apart our lives and this and that, none of that matters, because you're here to relive your childlike essence of what you used to be. So you don't see the problems, you don't see color, you don't see sexual orientation, you see that soul. You see the soul within everybody. You see the beauty within everything. You see the beauty within every single manifestation of God. You allow yourself to see that God is recognizing God, and you're tapping back into that essence. And I think the biggest thing is the inner child is more than the masculine and the feminine. Because when that inner child comes back inside of you, it's like, it's as if you became a totally new person. Because we all take the inner child out of we put it in the back of our subconscious. And then we allow the unconscious, which is the adult, which is the serious body, like I got this and that, and I lash out at people because I'm having a bad time, and I don't spend as much time with my children, and I don't know how to properly communicate. Well, that's the unconscious. And we put that inner child, or that abuse that we suffered, back into our subconscious. And then we allow that inner child to come back into ourselves, to come back to us, to say, I love you, I missed you, where have you been? And you allow it back into your being. You pick up that inner child and you put it back into yourself. Because then you're vulnerable, you're sensitive, you're just experiencing everything once again, and you're living out redemption. You're having an absolute redo. So every day that you have the inner child to come back to, you're having that sense that I get to do this all over again, and I get to make different choices, and I get to, exercise or don't exercise, or if I want to go to McDonald's, I can go to McDonald's too. That's all accepted too, I'm not saying that you have to, I feel like with spirituality, we act like people like have to be like this. You have to drink green juice. You have to meditate this certain way. You have to wear a toga or anything like that. It's just fucking ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like some of the people are like, you have to do it this way. You have to do it how I taught you. You have to have this ceiling. You have to sit under a bonsai tree until you're enlightened. And no, you can still go to McDonald's and be enlightened. You can still go to the movies and be enlightened. You can still smoke cigars and be enlightened. That doesn't stop because you have a certain way about you. It's like sometimes it's our belief systems. It's the way that we can be skinny and we can assume ourselves to be fat. That's how we can assume ourselves as a boring adult. As a really boring adult that hates their lives, that hates everybody, that watches the news all the time. And then it's just negative projections like, oh, I'm not voting for that person. And it's just a bunch of stuff that you're throwing into the fire. You're just projectile vomiting your own suffering and your ridiculousness. And then once that inner child comes in, all of that falls away. All of that is just reciprocated, and it's just so different because you see that. I see my girlfriend going to bed. You see that you can't go at life with the mentality that you're going to fail. Because if you're so persistent that you really want it and that you absolutely desire it, then everything will come to you and everything will chase you down, and the right opportunities, the right people, the right relationships, and I'm not saying right or wrong, but all the things that are of love and light and wisdom. Because now, everything that we experienced before could have been a dim room, and it could have been better than what we could have experienced, but what you're experiencing now is that light of transcendence. And that you're in the light, and that you are absolutely safe. And I think that's what, Christian people, when they use the term like saved, I really think it's that God has you, God will nurture you, God will build a strong foundation within yourself. And your guides and your higher self know what is best for you, and they're always looking out for you, and they're always watching your decisions, and they're always trying to get you to make the best choice of your own free will. That's what it means that you're saved. You have an intergalactic council that surrounds you, that loves you, that wants you to be safe, that wants you to be courteous. And it's like you get a whole nother family that may not be your physical family. That's what I mean by like, you're a child again. You get another mom. You might have a Native American guide, and I'm going to name one of mine grandmother. So you might have Archangel Michael as your brother. You might have Archangel Gabriel as your uncle. He's your really cool uncle. You see what I mean? What I'm saying is that you're reborn again. So like, we never really get born again, but if you wanted to use the analogy that you're a child once again, I am means that you don't have to say that you're a child of the Most High, either that you're a child of God, that God loves you, and that you're in the house of God. You have already been there even before you awaken. So the divine watches us, but once we realize and open up to that extension, then it kind of like dawns on us, and it's like, oh, wow. That's the very first time. Like the very first time. And I hope that the feed is not going in and out, so let's just see. Okay. So I'm actually going to put on my jacket because it is getting cold out here. And I'm going to try not to knock over my camera, but we're going to do a meditation. So if I can get my jacket on, and you guys want to experience a meditation, let's experience meditation together. I'm actually going to zip this up. It's got a little nippy out here, but it's not 20 degrees. Now, I know you guys have seen me on my videos and are like, probably like, oh, does he wear, like, he wears hats all the time. Like, yeah, I like wearing a hat a lot, but it's just been so cold. It's like 20 degrees outside in South Carolina, and it's just like, was unbelievably cold. And now it's only like 40 or 50 degrees, which is like heaven on earth. So, enough of that. Enough of me rambling. So we're going to do a meditation. So if you guys want to look at an object, you guys want to lay down, you guys want to journal while you do this, and we're going to visualize our inner child coming back to us. And what I mean by our inner child coming back to us, it's our inner child remembering who we are, and to accepting us, and to wanting us to balance out our masculine and feminine aspects, and also be able to heal and receive in a greater way. So, as you are meditating upon this, I want you to just allow yourself, as I'm talking, you can actually start the meditation. So, but we're also going to take a very big, deep breath. And we're going to take a deep breath in, and a big one out. So breathe and receive this healing meditation of the inner child. And I want you to relive all of your childhood fantasies, all of the things that you wanted to experience as a child, all the things that you didn't get to experience as a child. If you need to use the exercise of placing your desired reality in the past, you can do that as well, where you can change your family, you can change all the things that happened, that you can completely erase all of the dysfunction, the distortion, or you can place everything in the present and realize where it got you and how you went under that underground tunnel to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And how beautiful it was, and how amazing that it imbibed that journey, that discovery, that healing, that complexity within that, and seeing how beautiful that it can truly be to pick up that inner child and to accept it within your own heart, and to have that childlike wonder and that imagination to shine in everything that you do. So when you do this, you are making the bold statement that I am that I am. And see how I didn't say I am a child of the light, because you already are. It has already happened. Everything that you needed to heal, everything that you needed to forgive, that you needed to let go, that if your innocence was stripped away from you, that you have your innocence back again. That you get a redo. You get a redo. You get a do-over, in a sense. That every day is a reason to live, to laugh, to love, that it is truthfully and honestly a gift to do this work, to live this life, to live this abundance, to see that you have truth, that you are abundance, that you are consciousness, and that you are the multiplicity of energy, and that everything that has happened or will happen has already happened. So if you're waiting on being that inner child, just know that you already are the inner child. You just forgot about it. You put it in your subconscious, and you just left it there, which It's okay, it happens to most people. But you get to be a kid again. You get to be a child again. You get to have fun. You get to go play again. And I think it's very beautiful to look at life that way, with that innocence, with that purity, of experiencing everything like it's the very first time. Because there's nothing like the first time that you experience something, like maybe you go to an ice cream shop with your mother or your father or maybe your friends, and the experience of having that ice cream, the day of how maybe hot it was, or just getting that ice cream and just seeing how beautiful that moment was, but also how good it tasted, and the company that you had with you. It's the little things that matter. It's not about the big details, it's about the small, minute details. But we're not going to get muddled within the details. We're not going to get muddled in the how or the when or the why. But we're just going to be present with the energy that is there. It's almost like playing within the sandbox and also just feeling the way that the sand feels against your hands, or just picking it up and throwing it, making a sand castle, creating in a sense, like how you are just able to create in such a way, in an intricate way, or just feeling how the scales are balanced on that teeter-totter in a sense. Like the teeter-totter, like just feeling like the up and the down and the scales, because I'm a Libra, and then just feeling that essence of how you're just trying to balance out everything within your life. See your life as a teeter-totter and just see it how it can be like this, instead of like cattywampus, instead of up and down, but it can be centered and grounded. So in a sense, what you're doing is just finding your center, if you will. Find the center of your universe. Find the center of your resonance. And just allow ourselves to have a grounding effect, that the inner child allows the masculine and the feminine to coexist in a greater way. And just be proud of where you are at in your life, with your love, with your joyous existential ecstasy. That you're choosing to look at the bright side, to look at the good things in your life, to look at all the things to be grateful for, and that it doesn't have to be more. We always think that we want more and more and more. We just want to do what is fun, what is creative, what is imaginative, what is playful, what feels safe. That's what we really want. We just want expansion. But it's not just having everything that we want and then throwing a temper tantrum when we don't get our way. That happens a lot with like manifesting, with law of attraction and subtracting things out of our lives. But sometimes maybe we just need to be loving and patient and forbearing with what we have now, so that the greater can unfold within our lives. and just knowing when to act on that thing, using that discernment, but also just using the innocence that it's not about what is just always physicality, what is always the status or the wealth or what, it doesn't matter. But it has already happened. The more has already happened. The thing that you think that you're waiting on has already been initiated and has been experienced. And just because it hasn't been experienced yet doesn't mean that it'll never happen. But it's okay. Allow yourself to be a kid again. Allow yourself to regain your innocence. To step away from the dysfunction, from all the abuse, from all the trauma, from all of that. That is not who you are. That is not who any of you are. As light workers, as people who meditate, as people who want to explore their spirituality, that is not who you are. You get to think for yourself. You get to act for yourself. You get to choose what you want. You get to be free will. You get to play within the sandbox. You get to ride your bike, go play basketball, or just, smell the roses, smell the flowers, or just lay in the sun and make snow angels in the grass when there's no snow on the ground. Doesn't matter. It's not about how you describe it, how you do it. Everybody has their own laws, regulations, their own quantum codification. So be that. Be you. Be present. Be still. And be forever reliving your childhood. So, as this meditation is coming to a close, everybody take a deep breath. One last deep breath. Exhale. And when I snap my fingers, just know that you are the I am. That you've already been accepted, you've already been redeemed, and you've already been that inner child that was left in your subconscious. And you've regained that inner child, and it's within your innermost being. So when I snap my fingers, you'll come back to, you'll have a greater sense of clarity, you'll know who you are, and you'll become the oracle of love, light, and wisdom, which is God manifested in the human body. And so it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed that meditation, and I hope that really blessed you. I love doing these messages. I love doing these meditations. I just love what I do, and that I get to do it, and people respond well. Some people don't, and that's okay too. Some people on TikTok are wild, but also you can book private sessions. Also, you can feel free to share out. You can watch the TikToks anytime. You can get readings, healings, activations, also meditations, live messages that I do on here, and things of that nature. So if you are just looking for an outlet, if you just see me on here, just know that there's always a meditation that you can receive from. And also just know that the inner child is just waiting for us to accept it and to receive it. But it's always there. It's always in the way that we laugh, in the way that we're playful, in the way that we create, in the way that we just want to be at peace within ourselves, to be at peace within our heart, and to not have worry, lack, condemnation, or judgment on us. That is not what we're supposed to live and just to be humbled within our gratitude, just to be humble and to not see distortion, to see negativity, to see everything as black and white, but a gray area, and to see through the eyes of God. So thank you guys so much. This was my message. I hope that you enjoyed it. I love you guys. I hope that this blessed you, this meditation. Also, book a private session as well. If you want to contact me, you can book a private session and we'll discuss pricing. So without further ado, this is White Wolf signing off, and so it is. God bless. Namaste. And yeah, just be happy. Be blissful. Be childlike. Even if it just looks absolutely ridiculous. If it looks really ridiculous, if you're in the grass and you're making snow angels and there's no snow, if you're playing in the sandbox or swinging on the swing or just splashing somebody for no reason, hopefully it's your friend or you're a family member or something like that. Just go for it. Now, I'm not saying to just do it to a random person. They may not understand what you're doing, because I know it sounds funny, but don't do that. But I love you guys. Thank you, and God bless, and namaste.